Hi, everybody. I'm going to make sure that everything that is identifiable about this person is removed. But this was apparently sent to me on Friday before that panel was even done, right? And so I just have some quick words on this. First of all, thank you so much for sending me this because I have been so harassed. And even this morning, just watching the YouTube Underground, I was harassed in the chat again. So I'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk about this for a second. I found you through Hannibal's stream and found your page. I'm currently watching your last live, but wanted to stop and write a brief email to you. First, I'm sorry you were having to deal with trolling. This was before they even did the panel, you guys. People like that are miserable with too much time on their hands. I think that's a very key point that you have raised, okay? Please continue speaking your truth. There are a lot of women of women that don't know how to set up a platform to speak or are too afraid of the backlash. I hope this finds you well. Thank you so much. That was, and I did reply and say thank you, but that was all I said because I'm so scared of putting out words now. Thanks a lot for that, Kalari. Um, Basically, it took me a while to figure out what was happening and what was going on. Because, for one, I couldn't see the chat on the panel I was on last Wednesday. So I didn't see what was happening in the chat. But apparently, there were people being encouraged to say, remove her, she's drunk, right? I do have kind of a slow speech pattern, right? It doesn't mean I'm drunk, you guys. I do have some health issues that affect the way that I communicate, affects the way that I walk, and so on and so forth. But people like that are miserable with too much time on their hands. Yes, that is the big point because I talked about on my Trash Tuesday live stream that there are certain times of the year that the Republican Party and other sort of conservative leaning organizations will hire trolls to cause chaos. But they hire them on both sides, you guys. This is how Russia really messed with the 2016 election, is that they were putting messaging out to really mess with left-leaning people, and they were putting out messaging to mess with conservatives, people who were like evangelicals and Pentecostals and stuff like that. They have an uptick in this activity around the times that there are conventions. So I think it was last week that they, or maybe the week before, because I haven't been watching this stuff. I've actually been trying to stay away from politics for the most part. But they did the RNC convention Trump is apparently, with every speech, demonstrating dementia and having people walk out on him. It's not going well, right? But we also have groups of people who think, I don't know who hire these alternate groups, or if they're hired, if they're just recruited as volunteers. The alternate groups basically get paid to fight with these other people online and just cause chaos and just like constantly get into fights with people. And for anybody who is actually doing any real volunteer work, you know that that's not what we're supposed to do. Like, if you're going to be working with a digital team, they already have template messaging that they want you to send out, drop into Facebook groups, get on your Twitter feed, so on and so forth. I've worked with several of these groups over the years. I haven't gotten sucked into this kind of Russian bullshit of where they try and play up both sides since WikiLeaks, since 2016. Now, I know that Julian Assange, I think, was released, right? I think he was let go. And the idea was probably that they didn't have a strong argument against freedom of speech, freedom of the media, and so on and so forth. But on top of it, if they already had an idea that Biden was going to step out of the race, my guess, as somebody who's been doing this for quite some time, is that they've probably felt they didn't have a strong enough opposition file on Kamala to warrant holding him in whatever it was. I don't think it was prison. It was probably like a UK jail or something that he was in any longer, right? He was not, as far as they were concerned, he was not going to be, in my opinion, this is my opinion, he was not going to be a problem for this upcoming U.S. election. That's why they probably let him go. That's the only thing I can think of. But like I said, I haven't played in politics really much in the last couple of years because of my health condition. But what I do know is that there's a lot of people who get duped into joining Discords and Slacks to fight with people online. Not to do what the actual digital messaging is of Democratic Party organizations and their vendors and their partners like labor organizations and stuff like that. So when there is somebody out there who is coming after me because she disagreed with me on one point about what it's like to experience childbirth as an older woman, and ended up sending a troll army after me as a result of me bringing that up in conversation on that panel, I have to ask, how did you get involved in this K-Hive bullshit? What exactly is your volunteer experience? Are you knocking doors? Are you phone banking? Are you text banking? Are you postcarding? Because if all you're doing is sending trolls with hate towards people, then you're part of the problem, not the solution. So that's where we landed, but I very much appreciate this email. This is a new email address for me. I actually just created it recently. It's, I think it's Jenna Beck Reacts, but it's at the top of my page. I believe it's Jenna Beck Reacts at gmail.com. So if you do want to like have, send me some words on the down low, you can. But don't send me harassing shit, you guys. Please don't. I'm not involved in politics anymore, and I'm not going to deal with fakes who say they're involved in volunteering for the Democratic Party and apparently have some low-key hatred for me being a Bernie organizer. All right, K-Hive. So that's all I got to say on this. Thank you so much for your email. This was really nice. All I can say about that particular stream is that every single person who was involved in disparaging me and creating further harassment for me and highlighting me on their Saturday night, like how pathetic is that? What is your goal? Like, what are you trying to do with your channels? What are you trying to do? You're listening to miscellaneous accounts that have no credit and no following, right? Who are like, I used to be Jenna Beck's roommate. No, not so much, kid. I hosted you for 2 weeks, and it turned out that you were an absolute dumpster fire, and I kicked you out of my house. So there's that. And I can't really say much more on that particular situation because I have already had to talk to the Orange County Sheriff about it and other agencies. And there's other people that are getting harassed as well by that particular account, doxxed and harassed, who have come to me about it. So, if you're not going to vet your sources, then you have no right to get on a panel and trash somebody. Not cool at all.